What is going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I'm here in Mount Vernon, Illinois with the coach of the Pedigo Submission Fighting wrestling team, Mr. Alejandro Wajner. What is up, man?
Not much, man. Appreciate you having me.
I never know if Jiu-Jitsu guys are going to handshake or fist bump.
I usually do all three at the same time.
Well, dude, thanks for being here. We had you on the show about a year ago, and we talked about how Jiu-Jitsu helps your mental health and just kind of how it helps your life off the mats. So I'll put a link to that below if you're watching this and you want to go check that out. But today, I want to talk a little bit more about your journey of being a wrestling coach the last year and just kind of dive into that, because I feel like we just kind of brushed on it the last time. And you'd kind of just gotten started, and now you've had some big wins. Tell us a little bit about it. Just like, let's say there's someone who hasn't really followed what you're doing. Could you give us like a little summary of what the last year or so has been like for you?
Yeah. So like so much has changed in just the last year since we talked last. The traction with the wrestling program has just blown up. Obviously, like me and Michael Pixley and Tad Cravens and Dom Lucrecio and all of us over at Mount Vernon Township High School with the wrestling program, that blew up. We took the program from a dying 10-year deficit, never wanted a match in over a decade, 5 kids on the team program, to 50 kids on the program, winning season, regional champs back-to-back years, and it's blown up. And then from that, we started our PSF Wrestling Academy, which is our club program, about a year and a half ago, and we're coming up on year 2, coming up July 1st, and so much has happened in just the last year and a half. Literally, our kids program's blown up. We've got over 50 plus kids. We had 4 state medalists this year. We set the most kids to the IKWF state tournament in Illinois than ever before in Missouri history. In Mount Vernon history. It's been a great year for our kids. We're really excited with all these youth wrestlers. And then our like high school level club wrestlers, it's blown up as well. We're averaging 60 to 75 kids in high school from all over Southern Illinois coming to our practices every Tuesdays and Thursdays at night. And it's just huge. And I can't explain how humbling it is as a wrestling fan and a coach to know that there's kids driving an hour and a half, 2 hours one way just to come be a part of your practice for a couple times a week. It's just it's neat. Mount Vernon's a small little town of 15,000, and we got people driving that far just coming to be a part of it. So it's really special. It's really cool, and I'm happy I get to do it with some of my best friends and coach these kids up.
I feel like Mount Vernon is suddenly becoming this epicenter of grappling for especially the Midwest.
Yeah, it's blowing up. I feel like nowadays people hear about Mount Vernon, Illinois, and they immediately think Daisy Fresh, so it's blowing up. And now people hear, there's a lot of wrestling people that don't know anything about jiu-jitsu just because they're so immersed in the wrestling world. Same with jiu-jitsu people when it comes to wrestling. But now, like in this area of wrestling in Southern Illinois, and even parts of like all of Illinois, because our team started gaining traction in the wrestling world in Illinois. You hear Daisy Fresh, you think of those guys in Southern Illinois over in Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
So it's cool that we're getting a little bit of notoriety on a state level, and we're going to keep pushing until we can get that notoriety on a national level as well with the wrestling and the kids. So
yeah.
And I really believe we're going to get there, and I feel like we're getting there already. We're just on the cusp.
I want to talk a little more about one thing that you mentioned, which is taking a losing culture and creating a winning culture out of that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Let's say, okay, back to when you had your first couple of practices with this team, what was your mindset going in, and what specifically did you do to kind of take that losing record and turn into one where now you're producing champions?
I think the big thing is you can't allow the toxic, negative lifestyle or like whatever was there before you kind of have to completely get rid of that culture, and you have to completely rebuild a new culture, and you have to be adamant and consistent about it. A dying culture is something that people will get completely used to and not even want to change. It's like being in a really toxic relationship with an ex and not leaving, even though everyone's saying, bro, you should leave. You know what I mean? So you have to completely take that bad culture, that negative culture, or that culture that wasn't working, and you have to completely reassemble it and change the way that everyone's brains work to rebuild the culture into something positive, and that will eventually become a winning culture. It's not easy, especially with kids. A lot of people don't like change, so you have to convince everybody that this is good. Me and I always joke around and just tell everybody, I don't do nothing special. I just trick all the kids into thinking that they're champions, and then they just win. You know what I mean? But that is, as funny as that is. It's true. You have to tell these kids that the process works and explain to them that it works. And I know in my heart 1,000% our process works.
Yeah.
Heath's process worked for me. It worked for Pixley. It worked for Tad. It worked for all of these coaches from his program that are now coaching wrestling at the high school and kids level. So I believe in this process, and I just do everything I can, and Pixley and all these guys, we do everything we can to convey that this process works.
Yeah.
Look, it's worked for us. It's worked for our team. It's worked for our coach. You can look at, the proof is on paper. The proof is on the internet. The proof is on YouTube. You can watch it yourself. So luckily for us, conveying that and showing that, we can literally show it and convey it to these kids. So I think that's why we're having such a quick turnaround with success in this program at such a fast, we're very lucky, man. There's guys that have been doing this 3 times as long as us and don't get the results that we're getting right now. I just think that we're very blessed that we have coaches that our life is dedicated just to one thing, and that's doing jiu-jitsu and coaching wrestling. We don't have wives, we don't have kids, we don't have the normal things that normal people have to be responsible for. And there's nothing wrong with having those things. It's just we don't have those things to be responsible for.
Yeah.
So all we have is all our energy goes into these kids. All our energy goes into this program. All of our energy goes into becoming better coaches and understanding wrestling more at a higher level. And then all the other energy we have goes into ourselves and becoming champions in grappling and building PSF and Pedigo Submission Fighting,
Yeah. And you did that this past weekend. You were at the Chicago Open.
Yeah.
You got double gold.
Double gold at adult brown. It was my
Congrats,
first.
man.
It was my first double gold at the adult
That's awesome.
brown belt, and
awesome.
it's just I just remember being so young and like being in the laundromat and being a blue belt and losing and struggling and just hearing Heath telling us, look, one day you're going to be like this. One day you're going to be those guys winning. You're going to be on top of the podium. You're going to win the double gold. At blue, at purple, at brown, at black, you're going to do it. This is what all the Brazilians are doing. This is what the Meows did.
Right.
This is what all the Cicero Costa guys are doing. They're sleeping on the match.
It's hard to see.
Oh, dude, it's just like when you're in the moment.
Getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, when you're in the moment, your coaches are telling you this and that, and you're like, but like only so many people in this world will really take what their coaches say and they'll believe it like it's law and they'll do it. And I really made a promise to myself back then that I was going to do what he told me, and I did it, not just for 1 year, not just for 2 years, but for the last 8.5 years. And jiu-jitsu is a long hustle, man.
Yeah.
You're going to go from white to black. It might take you, if you're like a freak athlete, phenom, it might take you 6, 7, 8 years. If you're like, like everybody else, it'll take you anywhere between 8 to 12 years to get your black belt. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a long hustle. But if you can believe in the process and really, really believe in the process for that long, it's going to work eventually. You might not win at white, blue, purple, brown, black, then black and Marcelo Garcia, guys like, wow, I forget his name. He's super funny from BJJ fan. Bernardo Fari.
Yeah.
Those guys, they said all the time, couldn't win that blue, couldn't win that purple, couldn't win. And then at brown, Marcelo started having some success. Same for Bernardo. And then they won then they won everything at black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just like,
it's the same.
It's not everyone's going to freaking win it at every single belt.
Right.
So I always stuck to what he told me. And I just grinded, no matter how much I would fail or struggle, I would work, fail, got a little bit better. Work, fail, got a little bit better. Fail, work, fail, still got a little bit better.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're just going to get good enough that you're going to start winning consistently.
Yeah.
So that's all I did. I just believed in that process and stuck true to it.
Yeah. If you could summarize the Pedigo submission fighting process, how would you summarize it?
I would say the special thing about our process is that when you move here, Heath does a really good job at mitigating the amount of stress that normal humans have on them so that you could be as successful as you possibly can in jiu-jitsu. He gives you the ability to live very inexpensively and train very inexpensively, get food very inexpensively, compete very inexpensively so that you can focus generally on jiu-jitsu. He gives you an opportunity to go to 2 sessions a day minimum with 30 to 40 to 50 killing machines that are here for the same reason as you. How many incredible jiu-jitsu people do you know that go to practice are like, man, I can't get somebody to come to practice with me and train or drill.
Yeah.
Like he mitigates all the bullshit excuses. And the process really is nothing else than show up. That's number one. All you got to do is show up, care about your teammates, and train hard. That's it. That's the process right there. Show up, care about your teammates, train hard. Everything else is pretty much given to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and consistency. You gotta be consistent. You can't just do this half-ass and think just coming and showing up and doing bare minimums is gonna give you results. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna struggle. You know, not everybody's gonna be the freak and freaking just go out there and kill.
Yeah.
I lost for
100%.
3 years. I lost for the first 3 years I was at PSF. 3 years straight. Couldn't get on the freaking podium. Couldn't freaking get a freaking IBGF gold. And then one day I did, and then I kept getting them. And then it just keeps going from there.
It builds. So how do you teach that to your wrestlers that you're coaching?
You just constantly, as a coach, you have to instill that in the leaders in the team. You have to instill that, even the guys that are struggling the most, because and everyone always says this, your weakest guy is as good as your best guy. You know what I mean? But like, this is the truth. Like my brand new, every year I get an influx of new guys. They know nothing and they're going to get pummeled. It's just wrestling. That's how it goes. And obviously some kids are more natural at it than others, but you have to instill in those first year guys, just as much as your best guys, that the process works, and you're going to struggle. It's okay. You take that shit on the chin, you move on to the next thing. That's what winners do. They freaking keep going.
Yeah.
You can dwell for 5 minutes or so. You take that shit, you knock it off, and you freaking keep going.
Yeah.
Because even as a black belt, it's like everyone says, you get your black belt and then everything starts over again. You know, you got to keep chugging. You know, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I just constantly beat positive reinforcements into their head. It's just, we don't have time to be negative for more than a couple seconds. You're allowed to be upset after a loss. You're allowed to be disappointed after a bad practice, but you're not allowed to dwell. You're allowed to be upset because it shows you care. And that's important. It's important to care, but you're not allowed to dwell, because then it becomes toxic and cancerous, and it will spread like disgusting shit all over the rest of your team, and you'll infect all your incredible athletes that way. So you got to nip that shit in the butt immediately. But that's it, man. You just got to beat positive reinforcements into your kids, you know, until it becomes second nature to all of them. And it will. And your leaders will take to that, and they will spread that to your newer guys.
Hopefully. Man, that's powerful. Yeah, you can't like put a lot of emotions around winning or losing, I think. Like if you win, that's great, but you can't get cocky. You can't let it get to your head. If you lose, it's like, well, oh well. Maybe you just wasn't your day. Maybe you made some dumb mistake that you can fix and go back and win next time.
And look,
or something.
And that stuff does happen. Sometimes you do everything right and you still lose. It just happens, okay? But look, you can't just hope that you're gonna win. You have to mitigate all the doubt in your mind. You have to train hard as fuck, and you have to work with certain people. And if you're not good at leg locks, or if Paul's good at leg locks and I have to go against Paul, I need to make sure that I'm drilling and being put in leg locks, so that anytime you pull me into the saddle, or anytime you pull me into single leg X or Ashigur or ball sack, whatever it's called, that you're ready and you're not scared, and you know, you can't just like train hard, not drill the right stuff, and hope that, you know, you just beat yourself up enough in practice that you're going to win. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to take, you know, and as you get higher up in level, you have to take, you know, precaution to prepare yourself mentally. And that's how you go into these tournaments and these matches with zero doubt in your mind that you're ready to go. You know, you show up to all the practices, you train hard, and then you have to single out certain specifications and drill those specifications so that you know that you're ready no matter what happens in the matches. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you go in there with a confidence of, I've done everything possible. I've trained with Michael Pixley every day. He's beaten me up in wrestling. I can wrestle with anybody. I've done leg locks with Jacob Couch every single day. I could roll around doing leg locks with anybody. Those are the things that you can tell yourself at Pedigo Submission Fighting, and go into every match knowing. It's up to you if you're going to take the initiative and get with those guys in the practices. That's the cool thing about PSF. People are like, am I allowed to go to the class, the upper level class? It's like, no, there is no upper level class. The white belts first day are going in the same room training with Jacob Couch and Michael Pixley and Tad and everybody. So it's up to you. You have to take the initiative to do those things.
Yeah, man. And I feel like that transcends the mats. Like later on in life, if you go and do something else, that sort of work ethic can apply to anything in life. How do you feel like your wrestlers are benefiting from this training outside of their lives? Have you heard anything about how it kind of helps their lives outside?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you fight, especially with the younger. It's very special doing it with high school kids, because high school kids are very emotional kids and they're going through a lot of things. You know, I hate my parents. I just got my new girlfriend. You know, they're going through hormones and they're trying to figure out their lives and they think they know everything, but they really don't know anything, you know. So it's very special when you can lead kids on a good path. And you see that all the time. And it's great when you see a kid that's completely lost or very sad or very like insecure.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they keep their hood on every day and they don't show their face to anybody. And then next thing you know, they're running around with their chest down. They're happy to be alive. And that's a very special thing. And you're literally changing lives at that level. But the thing that I love more than anything is when you're with the little kids and you're literally watching their brains develop and you're cognitively watching them grow. And in a way, you're almost parenting them. But, you know, we're not their parents, but like you're literally building them as they're growing. Like they're little. I mean, I know all the parents probably know what I'm saying, but like you're like rebuilding these kids. Like we have these like little 5-year-old kids and they're terrified and they cry and they're scared. And then in a matter of months or you would never even recognize them.
Yeah.
In a year, you would never even know that kid was a crybaby or that he was scared or that, you know, he was insecure and he didn't want to be in groups. And now he's running around doing backflips and he's jumping on it. You know, it's a very special feeling. And you know, and they're winning and they're being successful. And that's just the icing on the cake. But
Yeah.
Like literally like seeing these little like babies go from scared, not, you know, not wanting to talk to anybody to just being super like excited and happy and running around. It's an incredible feeling as a coach.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It really is. It's neat. And it's just growing. And the fact that we're only in our like beginning stages is just like such a wild thing to think.
In the infancy, man. Infancy. That's awesome, dude. I just went to the PGF in Vegas, and on the plane back and forth, I read Jigoro Kano's book, Mind Over Muscle. He's the guy who started Judo.
Oh, cool.
And it was so good. But the thing that really stuck out to me was it was a short book, if anyone's interested in reading it. But the thing that stuck out to me is he was all about the stuff that we're talking about on the show all the time, which is that he cared primarily about the mental benefits from training. And from his perspective, that was the whole deal. That was the whole reason to even do it. And a part of the book that really stuck with me was this is like a paraphrasing, but he said, like, if you work really hard to be strong and win tournaments and do all this great stuff, but you're not a good person who's able to contribute to society, then what's even the point? Like, it was just a complete waste of time. And he was talking about how the whole purpose of this stuff is to develop good citizens and good people. And that's really what you're doing. That's what you're talking about when you're developing these young kids. And in his opinion and in mine, and I would hedge a bet probably in yours too, martial arts is the key thing that kids need to develop. Like they need this stuff. It's more so than just like, oh, it's a nice to have. It'd be cool if you learn how to throw a punch. Like, no, it's like they need this as a fundamental human thing. That's what I've come to believe.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna struggle in life, whether it be minimal or extensive. As a kid, as an adult, whatever, you're going to struggle. And in today's day and age, you know, you see kids struggle and they completely mentally break down, freak out. Even adults, you see them freaking completely mentally break down, freak out.
Yeah.
I think martial arts and, you know, in our situation, wrestling specifically, there's so much struggle physically and mentally in the sport of wrestling that, as a child, as a little kid, you know, ages 5, even as, you know, 14, I mean, if you can handle the struggles of wrestling, especially physical and mental, of getting over losing and
you're
getting
gonna
weight
be good to
off, your life's going to be a little bit less traumatizing for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get a lot of kids that are just like feeble, you know, kids. And then within 6 months to a year, they're just like self-aware and they can take on the world now, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing is it gets them ready for confrontation, whether it be inside of them or, you know, out in life. It gets them ready to handle any hurdles that come at them. You know what I mean? And I think wrestling's such a hard sport that you need to enjoy it. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to make life easier for you. And I think that's what goes back to you saying, like, it'll make you a better person in society. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good luck trying to push around someone who's wrestled their whole life,
No shit.
whether physically or emotionally or anything. Like, you learn how to not let people take advantage of you, I think.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah.
It teaches you to be strong. Well, dude, let's say there's someone listening who's a coach, or me, I'm a coach. I teach jiu-jitsu now. What do you feel like are some tips that you would give to someone who maybe has a losing culture, they want to turn it into a winning culture? Any tips from your perspective?
I think the biggest thing is just being motivational and being sincere when it comes to lifting up your athletes. Constantly beating into their head that they're doing everything right and that they're going to be successful. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to grind. You're going to, it's going to take time, but you're going to be the best. And I constantly tell my kids that you're going to be the best. As long as you show up and you do everything we say, you're going to be the best. We take care of the program. All you got to do is show up and do it. And you will take off. It'll be great. When it comes to like recruiting and stuff like that and getting people in your room, you just got to hit the streets and go talk with the kids. I don't try and beat wrestling into the kids when I'm trying to recruit them. I just kind of try and hang out with them and talk and get them in the room. Once you get them in the room, everything else is easy. I think a lot of people say, I'm not your friend, I'm your coach. I think this generation struggles with that tremendously.
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
They don't like any of that.
I don't have a problem being friends with my athletes, but you need to have understanding within that friendship to make them realize there's a big difference between us. There's a time for us to be friends, and there's a time for us to be coach and an athlete. You know what I mean? And I think there's a healthy way of doing so.
Yeah.
As long as there's you have to there's only there's a line of respect, and you just can't let your athletes cross that line. And if they do, you just have to discipline them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but I think that's how I've done things, and I've had a lot of success with it, me and Pixley.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Heath runs his program. He's my best friend, and he's great friends with everybody that he coaches.
Yeah.
And he's had a lot of success with that as well. And I think when it comes to coaches in jiu-jitsu, I think he's probably got some of the most loyal people behind him than a lot of places.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, man. What's it like coaching alongside someone like Michael Pixley and having him in the room with you guys?
He's incredible, man. I mean, he is just such Michael has been, since a very young age, he's been around greatness for a very long time. His parents cared about him very, very much, and they made sure that he was in every single room that he could be in that would make him the best. His dad and his mom, they made sure that he was in every single wrestling room with every single team, with every single coach. That was great. And they didn't waste no time making sure that he got every opportunity to be successful. And luckily for them, luckily for Michael had made a decision at a very young age, at 8 years old, that he wanted to wrestle, and this is what he wanted to do. So he was not the kid that needed to be forced to do anything. He did it because he knew he wanted to be great. And he's brought that mentality through his whole entire life, and he's obviously won everything there is to win. You know what I mean? When it comes to that stuff. And he brings that as a coach.
Yeah.
He's very, very passionate about making kids great. And I know everyone's scared of Michael and they think he'll beat you up and kill you. I mean, he might if it's a jiu-jitsu match.
He might.
But he genuinely cares about teaching people. He genuinely cares about people in the kids' lives, and he's constantly going out of his way to do things for our kids program and taking kids on trips. And he's an amazing person to have around. And if you need to know anything about wrestling, he's got an answer for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. He's an amazing coach and an amazing friend. I'm happy to have him in there with me.
Yeah, he's a great dude. He's an asset in any training room for sure.
By far. I mean, I had gotten so good at wrestling, obviously high school, college, and then being at PSF with Heath, but Michael showing up got me to a whole nother level I was never expecting to be at. So
yeah,
it's a huge. We're so lucky to have him. I mean, it's like having as elite as it gets in the room.
Yeah, I mean, he's won just about everything there is to win in American wrestling. And American wrestling is, I mean, some of the best wrestling in the world. So he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, basically. And I feel honestly like the grapplers of today are the best of all time because of just the proliferation of knowledge and information. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's honestly one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
He's up there. He unfortunately was never able to wrestle at the Division I level because of certain situations and things. But I mean, I've watched him beat up guys that were
that's what I'm saying.
Division I All-American, national champion level.
He's at that level.
He is 1,000% at that level. Put it this way. At the trials this year that he won, the West Coast trials, in the quarters, he went against a two-time national champion, submitted him in 30 seconds. And then the semifinals, he went against another two-time national wrestling champion, submitted him in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's all you need to know.
It tells you a lot.
He took these guys down as well. I mean, under that. So
it was crazy.
It
was crazy.
He won a state title. He won a state title as a little kid. Won 2 state titles in high school.
Yeah.
Won two national Fargo titles in high school. A national title in NAIA for college, and then another national title in Division II NCAA. in college, I mean, the guy's just a freaking laundry list of achievements.
So let me, just to bring this all home, and just to keep talking about Mr. Pixley a little bit longer, but let's say that there's someone listening who maybe for whatever reason, they're not going to ever meet Michael Pixley. They're never going to get to have that honor of training with him like you and I get to do, you a lot more than me. Maybe they live in another country or something
Sure.
like that. They're watching this. What are some takeaways that you would give them just of some things that you picked up from being around him and other high level folks like Jacob Couch that anyone listening could kind of apply to their mindset or their training philosophy? Just anything you kind of picked up from them.
Drilling. The drilling is necessary. If you're not drilling, I mean, you're not drilling for a reason, then you're wasting your time. I mean, look, everyone can be those gym warriors and show up, miss the warm up, miss the technique, and then show up and just train hard. Yeah. I mean, if you're hoping just to be in really good shape, great. But like, I mean, those guys, Michael and Couch, they take the time and they show up an hour before practice, or they show up an hour after practice, and they do the little extra stuff. They do the little agility drills. They do the extra conditioning drills. They do the leg lock defense entry drills. They do the single leg takedown chain wrestling drills. You know what I mean? So it's like they just at the elite level, guys like them, they're doing little tiny microscopic changes and drills that will set them apart from all the other amazing grapplers out there. You know,
it adds up.
Yeah, I just think that's the big thing. I think that's what Michael does. I think that's what that's what Couch does. You know, they take the time and they educate themselves and they put it into action, and that's why they're successful.
Yeah,
you know, obviously years and decades of practice and training before that, and this is what they do to maintain and continue to get better and be great.
Yeah. You know, it's great to hear you say that, because right now there's all this talk about like the ecological method. You know, you just play games the whole time, just roll, just do different positional drills. Like, what do you think about that kind of training? Does it fit in too?
I think it 1000% fits in, because if you drill, a knee cut 50,000 times, but then you don't do it with any resistance or any live, what makes you think you're going to be ready to do it?
So you got to do both.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what I think too, man.
This is what Heath basically taught us. You drill the position until you understand where you need to put your body and the position. Once you feel like you have an understanding, like, hey, Paul, I'm going to do the same thing. Give me 10%. Then you do it a couple times at 10. Hey, give me 25. All right. Give me 50%. All right. Give me, don't let me pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's the progression into drilling successfully, to where you understand a move or a defense or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've noticed at the classes that I've been to with Heath, is he does a great job of kind of mixing in the techniques with the games. And it's not just like a regular traditional jiu-jitsu session where you do some shrimping and stretching at the beginning, and then there's a block for technique, and then maybe we'll do some positional rolls, and then we're going to have real rolls. Heath is kind of like, okay, doing a game. Now we're going to break down a technique. Now we're going to play a different game that's slightly similar.
Yeah.
Now we're going to roll. Now we're going to do a positional roll. Now I'm going to show you another technique. Now we're going to play another game. Now we're just going to do some regular rolls. And it's like, it keeps it so interesting. Like the last class that I went to with him, I walked away thinking that it was one of the most exciting classes I'd ever been to, because usually I get bored. It's boring watching someone just teach a technique for 30 minutes, you know.
It's hard to get bored in there, man, when Heath's freaking behind the mic, you know.
It's fun. Felt like he was an MC, you know, just keeping the action going.
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have been mentored by Heath, man, because if there's one thing that I kind of like got from him, is that his like famous saying to me in the beginning was like, just get me in the room with so-and-so and I'll do what I do. You know, just get me in front of the microphone and I'll do what I do. And he's really good at that.
Yeah.
You know, I hope I'm really good at that, because I usually just say a bunch of stuff, but he's great to listen to, and he's great in front of the mic, man. Yeah. He's always got some good stuff to spit out.
Dude, 100%. Well, and you do too, brother. Thanks. I appreciate you.
I try.
You do. Well, any parting words you want to leave us with? We got to wrap this up, man.
No, man, just
trap arm guts, high guts. All right, real quick, I want to go over a high gut. Yeah, where you at? Okay. High gut is exactly what it is, all right? We're going to go S grip right here, chain grip right here, all right? High gut is like in the sternum, okay? I can't get into the normal gut, so I'm going to get up here, like up by his chest, and I'm going to lock my hands with like a chain grip, with an S grip, okay? I'm going to take my forehead, I'm going to put it in the back of his head, I'm going to drive my feet, I'm going to try and like smash my forehead through his whole body into my own grip. It's gonna suck for him. It's gonna feel like my head is gonna pop through his chest. I'm gonna take the top of my head, the hard part of my head, I'm gonna stick it right in there. I'm gonna drive, put all my feet in there, and then I'm gonna use my knee as the ice cream scoop. I'm just gonna like pop to my side for a little 2-point tilt. Okay, for this one, I'm not trying to roll all the way through. Correct? All right. I get in here, high gut, S grip by the chest. I drive my forehead in the back of his. I drive. Should suck balls for him. All right. I'm pushing. Butts up in there. When I'm ready. I'm gonna ice cream scoop. He's gonna belly right back out. Get right back to it. That's 2. Every time that's 2. You totally can do that. If you guys want, like, there's no backs, like in folk style, but like, say you get here, and the guy's being difficult, and like you go to do it, and like, say he's right here, like this isn't exposure yet because it's not past 90. You can take your hooks, just like in folk style, you put your hook in, you can use it to pull and get your points. Understand? You can put the hooks in while you're there if you want, but like I said, there's no incentive to get backs. Understand? Okay, take down, right to a gut. I want normal guts, trap arm guts, high guts. Remember when we're in our gut, we're going butterfly grip right here, in the chest, taking it over our arm, locking the butterfly. When we run our gut, we always have to run it with one foot in between the legs. Driving our shoulder down, running our feet, ice cream scoop, pop to the hips, take it 2. All right, same thing. 2 in, 1 out. Take down to a gut.
What's the trap arm?
The trap arm is right here. Okay? Get in the chest, take it over the arm here. I'm going to chop like I'm chopping to get a 2-on-1. I'm going to chop. I'm going to run my feet over. Lock my hands, and I grab this wrist, or forearm with one hand, grab my wrist. Then I just tilt. Tilt. Okay? Time. All right, now guys, pay attention, eyes in the middle. All right, same thing, same drill. Take down to lace. All right, obviously there's our normal lace. I'm gonna show you 2 other variations of laces in case you can't get the feet crossed. Okay, so normal lace. All right. Also, here's another thing to keep in mind. I get a single leg. I get up here. I get up to that here, right here at this point. I can already be looking for the lace before he's flat on his belly. So at any point, if I get a single in the air, I have him hopping, I can get him here. I get him here, whatever. I get up to this point here. I can start walking backside and already have a hook. Be reaching. As I'm taking them down. Understand? Okay, that being said, you take them down, get them flat, shoulder in the butt, hug the leg, hand on the outside, I put the ankle in my pocket, shuffle the leg. All right, I can cross the feet, scoop the ankle, come out, grab the knee. All right, here's a little heads up for you guys. If you're here and you're rolling and you're like not going because they're too strong or good looking or whatever reason, you take your feet and you bring them in front of you and you step here. Now you can press into the mat and arch and roll. All right, we're not as strong here as we are here. I stick my feet here, now I can push off my feet and arch and roll. Here. All right, for some reason if I'm here I can't roll, I'm gonna sit out, get my feet here, arch, send it. Okay? That's 1. If I'm here, and this guy's a freaking stubborn prick and he's not letting me get his feet together, all right? You're gonna take your head and you're gonna shove it through his legs, like you're sticking your head in his ass, all right? But it's gonna work. You do it, you grab both his knees. All right, you come here, you get here, you grab both his knees, and you're just gonna roll. Okay? I know it looks stupid, but it works. Because look, you'll be here, I'm digging, I'm trying to get it, and I can't get he's just strong, I can't get his legs to budge. I'm gonna switch to his knees, jam my head in between his crotch, I'm gonna run my feet, roll. All right, these are like last second ditch effort laces that you need if you need the points. Another one. I'm struggling to get his feet crossed. All right, I'm gonna scoop I'm gonna get both my palms of my hands. I'm gonna reach across on both calves. I'm gonna jam my head in between his calves here. I'm just gonna send it as hard as I can and roll. All right? Those are 3 different variation laces, all right? Same drill, 2 in, 1 out, take down right to the lace. Okay? Those are 3 different laces. If for whatever situation you get into, all right, try and do all of them. Do the one where you stick your head in their ass. I know it's stupid, but do it. Both knees, go. All right, clap on 2, 1, 2.
Guys, please check out the YouTube channel with at Daisy Fresh on YouTube and subscribe. My sister Sophia Viner, she's constantly updating and making sure that there's up-to-date content on there for everybody, and just see what we're all doing at Daisy Fresh. And for anyone that's trying to get into wrestling or curious about wrestling, whether it be for your kids or for you, holler at me and Pixley on our Instagrams anytime. If anyone wants to come to Mount Vernon, Illinois and train at Pedigo Submission Fighting at Daisy Fresh, I run the Instagram. All you have to do is send me a DM, and we'll get you taken care of. All right? No drop-in fees. Come train and get it in.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.